care of the 8-week placenta. So you keep rubbing and rubbing, placenta keeps sticking to the lumen of the cannula, but it cannot come out. You have to break it, the placenta into small pieces, or any pregnancy into small pieces to take it out. So it's not coming out, you put inside and 700 mm of Hg pressure, negative pressure, and you are rubbing the uterus. Placenta is on the posterior wall, but anterior wall meanwhile you have rubbed continuously. Placenta is sticking to the posterior lumen of your cannula, meanwhile anterior lumen is rubbing on the myometrium all the time. So you are taking out the basal endometrium. So if your cannula moves without any resistance and nothing comes out, that means you are not able to do anything, but you are damaging. So in such cases, you may go with own forceps, take out large pieces and insert the cannula again. Next patient, 30 years, oligomenorrhea since last cesarean, then now secondary infertility. One cesarean 7 years ago, and then for a few months she's thought that because of delivery she is not menstruating properly, but then severe oligomenorrhea continued. She had placenta every time. She required manual removal of placenta during cesarean. 2 PCOs were given at that time, and in TVS she saw irregular endometrial cavity. And this is the picture. You can see the collected blood coming from some hole that I created. This is not bleeding, this is coming kind of trapped blood. And carefully, just cutting with the tip. Because as you keep cutting the adhesions, the uterus keeps dilating a little, and you will find a new layer plane to cut again. You don't want to damage anymore. Your scissors can palpate the adhesions actually. When you are cutting on the myometrium, the scissors can't close. They are very delicate scissors. These adhesions, unless they are very strong and very hard, these adhesions will cut relatively easily as compared to myometrium. So with the tip, you keep finding. And for this reason, I don't use a hook or monopolar, because it can cut anything without palpating. The current cuts, and therefore you don't have manual feeling of cutting. So most people use this scissors only for adhesiolysis, because it's not further damaging to the endometrium. And see, nothing of the cavity is seen until now. It's quite severe. And sometimes you don't know whether right now you are at the fundus, cutting on the myometrium. So when in doubt, I have my ultrasound machine handy all the time, and somebody shows me from above. When the cavity is filled from inside with the saline, it's easy to see the whole uterus, and you know whether you are very close to fundus. You should not perforate, because this kind of hole you don't know whether you are going to go outside of uterus. And the window is open. Sometimes it could be perforation which looks like the same. True adhesions are fibrotic and therefore no bleeding. If you go closer to myometrium, it will start closing. And so you know you are deeper anteriorly or deeper posteriorly, and then correct your scissors again into the center of the adhesions. While doing this kind of adhesions, you get frustrated whether you are doing it just for exercise. It's going to help the patient in fertility at all, because everything is totally jam packed. But patience does give fruits, and this patient did conceive, and as you will see, now a good endometrium is seen. Almost whole cavity was fibrotic, but there is some good thing at the fundus, and that part has opened up now. You can see good endometrium on the right side, and you can see the normal shape of cavity now. This looks like pretty good and uterus and endometrium. Another patient, 29 years, primary infertility 6 years, amenorrhea 2 years following hysteroscopic myomectomy, the one I was talking about. She had a submucous fibroid suffering from anorexia and also primary infertility, and as we know in infertility, submucous fibroids are a cause of infertility. They should be removed. And somebody did hysteroscopic myomectomy, and many cycles of estrogen were tried, but after myomectomy she went into amenorrhea. And this is what you see. So I would like you to focus on the causes of this kind of things rather than treatment of this kind. I am trying to show the treatment, but please focus on the causes like hysteroscopic myomectomy or simple so-called DNC. And I'm again telling you that 8 out of 10 adhesiolysis I do is because of previous 2 or 3 missed abortion DNCs. So when the cases don't concentrate at one place, you don't realize the consequences of your action. To the ART centers, they all cluster together, and then you see the things in perspective, how many adhesions we are creating. So similar dense, and you don't find anything worthwhile in this cavity. All this is fibrotic, and we do not know if the endometrium is going to regenerate or not. But if you find good small islands of endometrium anywhere, and you do good adhesiolysis, there are chances that the endometrium will spread laterally and covering up the whole raw area. Some adhesions may recur, but that you can take care in second look. I have done second look and third look in this kind of patients with less and less adhesions, like 70% cured, and still there are some adhesions. You remove that and then some more, and then finally ART and conceive. So very good gratifying experiences with adhesiolysis, even in so-called hopeless cases. Because they are traumatic adhesiolysis, results are better. The infections like tuberculous endometritis or this kind of adhesions, results are not good. And you see something good inside. Occasionally I have gone inside this kind of holes to find intestines. So whenever you cut a whole certain length, just check with your ultrasound. You will see fluid-filled cavity and your scissors inside very clearly in ultrasound. From above, an assistant is showing and you are cutting. So if you have less than 1 centimeter at the fundus, just stop it there. Yes, this one is probably the last for this particular thing. You see some sort of sense here, but then it's not still good. In hysteroscope, you don't have a lot of maneuverability like in laparoscope. In laparoscope, you can go here and there a lot. In hysteroscope, cervix is gripping the hysteroscope. You can, on that fulcrum, you can move your hysteroscope a little to left and right, but most of the time you can rotate so that your scissors is right onto the adhesions. So you have to constantly keep rotating a little to get the right position for your scissors. And second is, you have to constantly focus your hysteroscope. Here the distances are only half a centimeter to 1 centimeter distance, and focusing changes constantly. In laparoscope, you don't have to change focus so much because 10 centimeter and 10.5 centimeter does not matter so much. So at 10 centimeter focus, you can show a 10.5 centimeter distance. But 0.5 centimeter focus and you go little away, and the difference is 100%. So in hysteroscope, focusing is required every now and then. Please remember that. Those who kind of are lazy about focusing will not do good surgery. Constantly keep focusing and refocusing. As you go out and in, you have to keep focusing. Again, out of a hopeless case, you can see a good looking cavity. Still at the internal os, on this side you can see some adhesions. This kind of thing was used to call lateral metroplasty also. This is not lateral metroplasty though, but you are just cutting on the lateral wall. Lateral metroplasty is done on the T-shaped uterus, which we don't see very often. Right, so that is it. I think this is a similar case and we can just let it go. The time is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir. It was a nice explanation. One thing I came to my mind that nowadays many patients are taking MTPs by themselves. What happens after 15-20 days they come with a period of amenorrhea or something else? What happens? General practitioner give OC pills, gets stopped, but it creates resistance, a lot of resistance. So I think the cases will come up very fast.
Yeah, I don't have much experience about empty pills and the follow-up, but yes, empty pills are likely to cause incomplete abortions, and if they are not taken care of, after some time the bleeding stops and patient thinks everything is okay, but then the retained products may dry up and cause adhesions or infertility. And when you try to remove those old dried products, of course you have to scrap harder, and that can lead to bad consequence for the users. Yeah.
One more question. As you say, the perforation sometimes looks similar, like adhesive beds. How you differentiate these two?
You have to prevent it. Once it occurs, the pressure loses, the cavity collapses.
Partial perforation sometimes just damaging the endometrium and the muscles. You can see the muscle bed. You can see like bands. In that
so not a complete perforation. If it is not a complete perforation.
Yes.
I'm talking about complete perforation. What did you ask? Sorry.
So when the sometimes perforation, partial perforation looks similar to the bands, like adhesive bands. So how we differentiate these two?
Well, this kind of adhesions, when you keep cutting, you are maybe cutting, as you rightly said, you may be cutting the myometrial fibers or adhesions, you are not sure. So, ultrasound, as I said, at least 1 centimeter. So until then, you don't. Here in both the cases, you found some good cavity at fundus, and suddenly you saw that there was a good endometrium at the top, at least one line. But if you don't find anything, the whole cavity until fundus is absolutely jam-packed, and you don't find good endometrium, you don't know where to stop. So then, in such cases, you ask is 1 centimeter at least you give at the fundus and leave it alone by ultrasound guidance. But most of the time, you will find that most damage that we do is in the lower half of the cavity.
Second thing, sir, by decreasing the pressure, intrauterine pressure, the blood vessel will start like bleeding will start.
Yeah.
That also can guide us.
Oh yeah, that is it. Yeah, but you can reduce the pressure and see the bleeding coming. But then this so-called avascular adhesions are not completely avascular. So anytime you stop, you will see the bleeding. So that cannot actually guide you very much. They are not absolutely avascular. They look avascular, but they are partly avascular because of the pressure. Next presentation. So now another video that I want to show is cornhole catheter or tubal cannulation. Again, with IVF coming into picture, the tubal surgeries went into disuse, and even the experience. So, yeah. Tubal disease is the cause of subfertility in approximately 30% of women out of all fertility, and 10 to 25% of those 30% are due to proximal tubal obstruction. And this proximal tubal obstruction is very easily treated with tubal cannulation. The mid-tube blockage or lateral blockage, the microsurgery is getting out of date. IVF provides simpler solution. There are debates about the place of microsurgery in today's world, but this one is nobody doubting the proximal tubal block and tubal cannulation, because it's very non-invasive kind of thing, and the results are very gratifying. The causes of proximal tubal block: PID, fibrosis and endometriosis, or salpingitis systemica nodosa, and corneal polypoidal lesions. But more commonly, tubal spasm or intratubal debris, viscous secretions, and mucosal agglutination. And these last two are a cause of lot of proximal tubal block, and that we can very easily and very fruitfully remove. Tubes, as you know, hardly can admit a very small 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter guide wire at the corneal region and ischemic region, and that is an area with the slightest inflammation or slightest debris in the lumen, it will block, and these things are readily removed. This is the picture of HSG, very commonly seen by proximal tubal block, bilateral corneal block. A decrease in expertise of tubal microsurgery has resulted largely from the use of IVF as a treatment option, and tubal cannulation can be very effective. It's successful if it's a proximal tubal block only. In laparoscopy, you see very good pliable tubes, not hard or rigid tubes, very pliable. You think that they must be patent, and then you see that no dye is coming out. These are the cases where it is successful in 70 to 80% cases, and 2/3 of them will conceive spontaneously. So even after cannulation, 1/3 of them may not conceive, or they may have ectopic pregnancies because there may be some pathology, but then a lot of them will conceive spontaneously. So it's much simpler than cost effective than its alternatives like tubal microsurgery or IVF-XC. Several authors have demonstrated very high pregnancy rate when tubal patency was established by simple selective salpingography, even without using the guide wire, not going inside the tube at all. Just go on the corneal lumen with Teflon catheter and just do a selective salpingography, not a general HSG. That force directly into the lumen will remove a lot of mucosal blocks or small adhesions. And this is in laparoscopy, a good looking tube. The dye is coming out from the right side, and however we try to maneuver our cannula from below to point it on the left side, the dye would not come out. So this is the guide wire, and this is the outer Teflon catheter. The outer catheter has a little curve at the end, and it has a memory. So for inserting, you put a metal wire inside so that it goes straight and doesn't keep blocking because of its curve. Once you touch the tubal ostium, and here again you might have to rotate or move your scope left or right, because your cannula or Teflon catheter will not strike into the lumen. So however you try it, you will be 1 centimeter away. So you have to keep doing your hysteroscope left and right and rotate so that it directly points to the lumen. And then once you are at the lumen, you take out the metal wire and then introduce a guide wire. Guide wire is very pliable and supposed to be non-injurious to the tubal mucosa. So I inserted Teflon wire and then selective salpingography, and then see the upper picture, the dye is coming out. You will see a little mucosal block. Look, did you see that? A blob-like thing, a mucosal thing came out. and that's it. So this is another case. Bilateral tubal block with bicornuate uterus. The radiologists or HSG people always they never say septate uterus. It is bicornuate for them. Most of those bicornuates are septate. They have no way to diagnose, but then they should not put as bicornuate also. They can say bicornuate oblique septate. From HSG reports, you always see bicornuate uterus. They never mention septate even as a differential diagnosis. So she had bilateral block with bicornuate uterus. So we are cutting the septum. It will take 2 minutes more and then I'm done. I'm saying this to prevent further bells. Sorry?
We are mesmerized and looking at the surgery, but due to time shortage, we have
No, I understand. Here also there is a choice of monopolar hook, but I'm very comfortable with scissors, with small cuts, although it takes a little longer. The only problem with monopolar I find is it can go a little oblique up or down and you have no way to control it so much. Once you press, the current cuts anything that comes in line. Here you are manually cutting small bit by bit, pieces by pieces, and you are constantly looking at your line of cut. So you are always transverse between the two corners. You are not going into anterior myometrium, neither in the posterior myometrium. And off and on, you pull out your scope, hysteroscope, and see whether your line is accurate. You are not going oblique towards one corner up and one corner down. No, you are exactly at the transverse level. So you have to keep watching and keep putting the small cuts. So it's all the way up to fundus, and as you can see, the septum becomes broader and broader as it goes up. So it's a conical shape or fan shape as we call septum. It was very narrow at the lower end, and you cut it almost all the way from lower internal os. And now you can see the column. There are some polyps. The polyps look a little different, more vascular as compared to the other endometrium. Sometimes you cannot see the tubal lumen and you have to presume according to the anatomy. You just go into that corner and try to poke. And wherever you find a little kind of place by palpating, that is where you can do selective salpingography, and sometimes or most of the time it opens up. Here the guide wire may not go if you are not in the right place. It did not go right now, it was bending. And once I am at the right place, a little 1 millimeter here or there, and the guide wire will go all through. And now you can see the abdominal picture. When the guide wire goes inside, you become so enthusiastic that then you push it all the way, coming out to the fibrial end, which is not advisable. Although it's supposed to be atraumatic, it may damage the tubal mucosa. So your purpose is only to reach the ischemic end and then come out. But in the beginning, you are so excited, oh, it suddenly started going all the way, you keep pushing, and you are also even excited to see it coming out from the fibrial end. So you know the tube is patterned, but meanwhile you may have damaged tubal mucosa. So here also you can see exactly the cornwall, but then a little here and there, and you find a soft place and try to insert the guide wire. And that's it. think there is nothing more to it.
Thank you very much. Just a word about the use of ureteric cannulas in place of hysteroscopy. Just a word.
Sorry, but
like a lot of people in the beginning costs end up using ureteric cannulas instead of the proper hysteroscopy cannulas. What is your
doesn't matter. I think doesn't matter because ureter is as precious as the tube, and those cannulas are also as diaphragmatic. But same guide wire technique, same thing. Those cannulas are also very pliable, and you have to use guide wire. You don't have to push the cannula all the way because the lumen is very narrow. You can only go up to the lumen, fix it there, and then insert the guide wire. Or do salpingography straight away, push with the dye, and probably if the minor blocks will go away without even the guide wire.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like that for such an articulate presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I would request Dr. Dipti, please give the mementos to our respective chairpersons, Dr. Milind Parikar, Dr. Gautam Vyas, sir.